Good morning. Hopefully you can see and hear us okay. Pip and with my learner Michael here this morning as we return to Drawalong for a new term. We are studying sharks over the next 5 weeks and we are beginning with the Hammerhead Shark today. Do let us know if you can hear and see us okay. We have had a few internet issues the last couple of days. It's been lagging a little bit, so apologies if it seems a little bit unsteady. Hopefully it will stabilise a little bit as we get started. So like I say, we've had a little bit of a break. We weren't here last week when we finished our exotic birds the week before. This week, this term is all about sharks. So we're going underwater. Lots of blue and grey tones I think we'll be using this term. And new challenges as we try and tackle water and how that could be depicted. Today we're going to really study the form of the hammerhead shark and learn all about this fascinating creature as well. I can see people saying hello, so I'm going to say hello back. Hi from Alyssa and hello from Raya and Waris. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm hoping that means you can hear us okay. So I'm just going to leave it a minute or so just in case we've got late comers, because I know what it's like. Monday mornings can be a little bit hectic. It's felt like that today for us. I thought we were going to be late, but we made it on time. And for us as well, we took a half-term break last week, so it feels like a bit of a shock to the system coming back, doesn't it, Michael? You weren't too happy about getting up and getting ready for Drawalong, were you? So, just a couple of facts I'm going to share with you on the hammerhead sharks. They're one of the most recognisable ocean creatures and perhaps the most distinctive of all the shark species because of their hammerhead-shaped heads. Known as this is a technical word, it's known as the cephalofoil. So this shape of the shark is known as the cephalofoil. Found in the warm waters around Central America, Southern America, Africa, Asia and Australia. They can live for around 20 to 30 years and can measure anywhere from 3 to 20 foot. 20 foot! Can you imagine? They eat small fish, stingrays and octopus. And some species even eat seagrass and are the kings of the ocean with no natural predators other than human intervention. Once again, us humans can cause them difficulties. Although attacks by orcas, dolphins and other shark species have been recorded. So they're not a prey animal for other predators. They're not on the food chain for other predators, but they can be attacked by other animals. There are nine species of hammerhead shark in the world. So this isn't the only one, and I'm not entirely sure which species this is. So if anybody knows, do feel free to let us know. So there's at least 9 species of hammerhead shark, although some studies may suggest that there could be more. So of the 9 species, this includes the scalloped hammerheads, the great hammerheads, the smooth hammerheads, the small eye hammerheads, the Carolina hammerheads, the whitefin hammerheads, the scalloped bonnethead, the scoophead, and the bonnethead. There's some funny names there, aren't there? Sadly, almost all of them are threatened in some form, and many are critically endangered due to human activity. In Indonesia, the government has protected the scalloped hammerhead sharks since 2013. So, should we get started? Hi Jacob, thanks for joining us. I'm going to be drawing landscape today because I feel like the shark lends itself to that shape rather than portrait. Now you might have noticed the image I've chosen has cropped off the towel a little bit, so we're going to use our imagination or memory to try and fill in the gaps as such so that we can draw the whole towel and the whole shark in. So today, I know over the term we are going to be looking at how we can sort of depict water. Today I think, as it's the first week back and we need to warm up a little bit, I probably will focus more on the form of the shark, and then from next week we start looking at how we can sort of depict water and the reflections you can see in the water as well. Alyssa says, this is my first time here. Well, welcome Alyssa. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So, okay, if you're not familiar with us, this isn't a strict how to draw. This is how I'm drawing, and if you want to join in, please do. Here are some tips I can give you, but with art, this is the beauty of it. It's not like a maths equation. There's no right or wrong way of doing things. The most important thing is that you enjoy it and that you progress on your own art journey. Hi Holly, thanks for joining us as well. So I'm going to start very roughly sketching out. So the first thing I'm doing is sort of drawing a line in to show the angle of the shark on the picture, and then I'm going to literally just go very, very rough very softly, and the reason I do that is so that I can correct things and rub things out easily without it marking the paper. Why do I feel I'm going to lose my voice? That'd be interesting. So I'm just going with rough shapes that I can see at the moment, and then we'll go in and add in the other details in a bit. So this helps me to make sure that I've given myself enough space on the page, and I'm not going to chop off part of his head or anything accidentally because I've started up too far over on my page. But it also allows me to make sure that I'm getting the proportions right so that everything looks balanced on the picture. So their tail, now I know this from looking at other reference pictures, the top part of their tail is much longer than the bottom part of the tail. So that's just another challenge for you guys, because obviously I've cropped out the image so you can't see that bit. So we're going to use our imagination to put that in. And then you've got all these other little fins that the hammerhead has as well. Quite a few. And we'll learn a bit about that as well and what that means for the hammerhead, because they do have a purpose. I've started too far over there, so I'm going to just correct it. So it's just rough shapes at the moment, and then I can go in and add the details, and then finally the tone and the colour in a bit. I just want to make sure that everything on my page looks recognisable as a hammerhead shark at least. And gills there we can see. Lots of triangular shapes on this illustration today. Oh, we've got some more hellos. Hello from Holly. Hello Edenia and Susie. Hello from Elsie and Joe. Joe's joined us today. You joining in, Joe? Are you drawing, or are you just hanging out with us today? So we're getting the form down very roughly. It's starting to take shape. You can tell it's a shark, I think, at the moment, but not quite that it's a hammerhead, because I haven't got to the head part yet. I want to give that a bit of focus. And I chose this image because I like the angle of the shark, the way it's sort of twisted and turned towards you. So again, that's another challenge. If it was completely straight on or sideways on, it might be a little bit easier, but we're making it a bit more of a challenge for ourselves. That mouth, and again, another reason I chose this image is because he's got a gaping mouth, so we can see some of those teeth there as well, which I thought was quite cool to include. Looks like I've just got enough room to get this guy in on my page. And as I go, I rub out some of those more rough lines just because they confuse my brain, so I want to get rid of them as I go along. So this looks a little bit too low when you compare it to where the fin is on the reference image, so I'm going to correct that before I go any further. I might have actually done the dorsal fin a little bit too big. I might need to correct that as well. That's a bit better. I think that actually was the issue rather than what I'd done with the head. I think the dorsal fin wasn't quite in the right place. How you doing, Michael?
Good.
Yeah?
Sort
Sort of.
of. I don't like it.
No?
No.
We can just see one eye. I'm going to sketch that in. Now he's actually looks like a hammerhead shark, not just any old shark. How's everyone else getting on so far? Joe says, I'm running a little behind on my days. I don't have anything ready to get drawing, but I might try and quickly pull some paper and pencils together. That is exactly where we were, Joe. Running around like headless chickens this morning. Hello, Pip and Michael. Hope your couple of weeks were good. Sorry we're late. The laptop was very slow turning on from Bean and Bud. Yes, we had a week off, but we are back to it now. Doesn't feel like we had a week off. It always goes so quickly. But thanks for joining us again, Bean and Bud. Eden says, I guess the only colours I need today is blue. Definitely feels like that. I've gone with greys. Greys, blues, blacks. But I do think it's predominantly blue that we're going to be seeing. Holly's excited because she doesn't have to log out early today. She can stay for the whole thing. Oh, awesome. And, that, you know, after all that, after me saying, make sure you've got room on your paper, I have actually cropped the towel off. So that's not good. If I try and squeeze that in, the portions aren't quite right. So I have, unfortunately, cropped my Hammerhead Shark's towel off. Hi from Steph. It's not Steph, is it? I can't remember. Who is it? I want to say something, but it's a name begin with E. Remind me. I can't remember. How are we doing for time? 11:11. So I might need to pick up the pace a little bit with my sketching. Right, teeth. Then they're not the easiest thing to do. They're not just a case of drawing a zigzag. When you zoom into your picture, you can see like several rows of teeth, and the gums you can see as well. So we're going to try and put them in, and they're not in neat rows either. They're a bit all over the place. Makes it look even more ferocious. I can definitely see two distinct rows of teeth here. Cool. Okay, that's not bad going for a week off. Just warming up. Literally warming up because this room we're sitting in at the moment is freezing because we didn't put the heater on. So my hands are going a bit numb and all. I think that's not a bad start for first week back for Shark Week. So before I start with the colours that add in tone, I'm going to share some more facts with you guys. Hopefully that gives people a little chance to sort of get caught up if you're still drawing. Oh, and what you might want to do, I don't know if I will, we'll see how I go for time. I won't at the moment, but you can see these other little fish attached to the shark. So underneath, you can see them in the reference image. Just there's one here and there's one here. So you might want to add them on as well. But I don't know that I'll have time to do everything that I want to do on my image. So another fact. The distinctive hammerhead part of the shark is called the cephalofoil. Say that 3 times fast. It's responsible for the distinctive shape of the hammerhead group and serves many purposes, including giving them superior depth perception and binocular vision, aiding hammerheads in navigation and for finding food. Scientists also believe that the size of the cephalofoil gives hammerheads a greater number of electroreceptors than in other sharks, which increases their navigational and prey detection abilities. So it's not just a funky look. Hammerheads have this hammerhead in order to help them detect prey and be more successful in hunting. They have eyes that allow 360-degree vision, but can't see in front of them. Because obviously the eyes on the side of the head, that means they can see all around, but not directly in front. They have incredible vision and depth perception, better than most other species of shark. The position of one eye at each of the end of the head allows them to see everything around them all the time, giving a complete 360-degree range of vision. This adaptation does also come with a caveat that they therefore have a blind spot right in front of their nose. So right in front here, they can't see anything. And divers have observed small fish hiding right in front of a hammerhead's nose to avoid being eaten. That's quite a good strategy, really, isn't it? Stingrays are the #1 prey choice for hammerheads, but their barbs are incredibly sharp and the stings have been known to cause nausea and swelling in humans. As a result, hammerheads have had to evolve a tolerance to stingray stings, and many hammerheads have been found with pieces of stingray barb embedded into their skin. There we go, some facts. Charlotte, I was completely wrong. It didn't begin with E at all. So Charlotte, welcome. And Bean says, I love your nails, Pip. Thanks. These are those press-on stickers that you gel, like gels that cure under a UV lamp. They're really quick and easy, and even I can manage them. So, so that's why I've got them on again today. I need a hot bottle. Yes, I do. I feel like it. It's starting to warm up a bit now, I think, because we've been moving a bit and the heating is starting to kick in. So we've got the form. So now we need to start adding colour and tone. And like we said, it's going to be mostly blues. Now, again, if I had more time, I would probably focus on adding in background, because actually a lot of the colour is in the background, but I don't think I'm going to have that time to do today. So I will focus on the actual shark and using colour to create tone and make the image look more realistic and 3D. So where do I start? I'm going to start with greys, I think. I think because my brain knows that the shark would be grey if you saw it out of water, that's just automatically what I want to go to. I'm just going to adjust the camera there because I feel like it's not showing everything right. There we go. So I'm going to start with the eyes because, you know, that's what I do if you've been here before. And there is a little, what looks like a reflection there. So I'm going to keep that in there. Makes it look more realistic. So we're just laying down colour at the moment. I can blend it more with the paintbrushes because I'm using watercolour pencils. At the moment I'm just looking at my image trying to figure out the different tones. So I've got a black, a dark grey and then a lighter grey, and that's what I'm using to try and show the different colorations on the shark. So I'm just going to keep, oh, I hate it when that happens. You sharpen your pencil so well that it snaps off. Keep switching between the pencils as I work my way around, looking at the different tones, making sure I use the right one in the right place. Because although there isn't a lot of colour on the shark, there is a lot of variation in tone. He's got like a white underbelly. And then he's got lighter greys and darker greys, and then almost dark shadowing as well. So we want to depict all of that. In some places it almost looks like an outline, like here where I'm sketching at the moment. This is where I tend to go a bit quiet because I'm focusing on, and I'm continually flicking between the image, the reference image, and my own. So I'm trying not to do it from imagination or memory because my memory is shocking. And the actual, what they have taught me in art college and my art tutors before when I was much younger, the ratio is 80-20. So you should look at your reference image 80% of the time and your own image only 20% of the time. That's how often you should be flicking between. I can't say that I do it that much. I should, but my eyes are constantly just checking back, making sure that I haven't record details wrong. He's almost got like little markings and patterns on his skin, so I'm going to draw them in, not just shade blindly. I'm going to look at where it looks like he's got markings. It might even be scars, maybe from battles with orca, you never know. And it is important as well to leave white highlights. Now looking at this image, as somebody else pointed out, it's mostly blues. When you look at the underside of the belly, I know that he's got a white underbelly, but because he's in this water with this blue reflection, it's got a blue tinge to it. So you could draw it in blue. That would be more accurate. For unknown reasons, I'm just going to do my own thing because my brain is telling me that should be white. So that's what I'm doing. And I think because I'm not going to be including the background, it will make more sense to me as an image. But if you want to make it more accurate and more realistic, yeah, absolutely go with the blue undertone. then I've got a shade in between the teeth so that the teeth show through. How are we getting on, Michael?
Good.
I can hear lots of ferocious shading at the moment. How's everyone else getting on? Have we got the form down all right? Are we happy with the shape of your sharks? And is anyone watching who's got sharks as a favourite animal? Can't say they're mine, I prefer the furry type of animal. But, that being said, doesn't mean I don't admire them and respect them. I think they're fascinating creatures. Bean says, mine's turned out much better than I thought, which I guess is a good start. So quick answer, yes, that's what we like to hear. Yeah, I was quite pleased. I think actually, you know, their form and structure, because they, sorry, you might be able to hear the dog in the background. I think because they haven't got fur, it's easy to see their body structure and the form of them. So maybe that's made it easier for us to get it down to paper. Georgina says, good, I'm outlining the colour areas. Awesome. Shark's my second favourite animal. So what's your first favourite animal? I think the postman must have been, that's why she's grumbling. So anyone that's new today as well, if you didn't already know, at about 1 o'clock, we have a post go up on our main Facebook page, and it'll be a picture of this drawing, my drawing. And then if you want to post in the comments your drawing before 3 o'clock, then Joe, who is our art specialist for our art qualifications, will come along and give you some personal feedback, completely free of charge. She just posts a comment telling you what you've done well and how you could develop or you might want to develop your skills further in the future. So all you need to do is just post a comment of your picture, and then before 3 o'clock, but the earlier you can do it, the better for Jo. If she gets like 20 coming at 5 to 3, it's a bit of a nightmare trying to get it all done. So as soon as you see that post at 1 o'clock, upload your image and Jo will provide you some feedback. Oh, first favourite animal is a horse. Oh, quite a difference then. Horse followed by a shark. Quite a variety there in your favourite animals. What's your favourite, Michael, now?
No idea.
No, it used to be foxes for a long time. Yours used to be foxes. I like wolves. And I like cheetahs. They're my favourite, like big... Well, we'd established, didn't we, when we learned about the big cats. Technically, they don't class as a big cat.
No.
Because they don't roar. Right, I might need to get a wriggle on. We're at past, and I've still got to shade the rest of my shark, and then obviously use the paintbrushes as well. So I might need to pick up the pace slightly for myself. And I've got a load more facts that I want to share with you as well. My favourite animal is a horse as well, from Eden. She rides them frequently. That's cool. I've coloured my whole shark in with one pencil from Nina. Have you managed to get the different tones in though? That's the important thing, because absolutely you could do it with one pencil. As long as you show variation in tone, because you can get darker and lighter tones from the one colour. That's what helps it make it look more realistic. Aurora's is an elephant and Vienna's is a penguin. Is that by accident, or have you just gone off and drawn completely different animals? Was it meant to be a hammerhead shark, but we're saying, oh, hang on. I completely misinterpreted that. Favourite animals. Aurora's favourite animal is an elephant and Vienna's favourite animal is a penguin. That makes much more sense. I think I need an early night tonight.
Yeah.
So these rear fins that we've got here are much more in the shadow because they're further back, so that's why the tone is a lot darker on these. Nina says she thinks she's got different tones from the same pencil, so well done. That's really good to do. Good practice to use one colour and try and create the different tones from the one colour. You all right, Michael?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to dry.
feel like I'm winning. Fins are done. I need to do the towel. Elliot's favourite animal is a gorilla. Oh, that's news to me. Elliot being our Elliot. Gorilla. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, where's that rubber? I've got a pencil line I want to get rid of. I feel like I've done the towel a little bit too light. I need to go darken the tones down a little bit. Okay, we're nearly there. Just got the bulk of the body to do, and then I can start adding water to it. So let's share some more facts in the meantime. So sharks have been around since the time of the dinosaurs and can be traced back at least 420 million years. Meanwhile, hammerheads have only been around for about 20 to 25 million years. So of the shark species, they're the babies. It's still much longer than humans, but hammerheads are considered a newer, evolved shark species compared to the rest. They can tan. Hammerheads can tan. One of the facts about hammerhead sharks is that they love to hang out in shallow waters, and as a result, some species have actually developed the ability to tan their skin. Their skin may turn from light grey to dark grey, and the best thing about it is they have no risk of skin cancer. Further studies of how they can tan without getting cancer may be critical in uncovering how to prevent and treat melanoma in humans. They can swim sideways. So remember I mentioned about these fins? They have fins of different lengths compared to other sharks, and this impacts how they swim. In most sharks, the pectoral fins are longer than the first dorsal fin, but that's not the case for the hammerheads. They often swim at a slight angle because their first dorsal fin is longer than their pectoral fin. By tilting, they're able to use their dorsal fin instead of their smaller pectoral fin, reducing drag and expanding their wingspan, which increases swim efficiency. One of the most bizarre hammerhead sharks is that females can create offspring, can create babies by fertilising her own eggs without a male. This is most commonly witnessed in the bonnethead, as it's called parthenogenesis. Let me try that again. Parthenogenesis. Testing has confirmed that no paternal DNA was present in offspring of these species under those experiments, so they don't need to mate with a male in order to have babies. Baby hammerheads are called pups, and a female will be pregnant for 8 to 10 months before having up to 50 pups at once. The larger the female, the more pups she'll have. From the moment they're born, there is no parental care. They're on their own. Baby hammerheads learn to care for themselves instantly. They love to travel in groups. Destinations like Cocos Island in Costa Rica, Wolf and Darwin in the Galapagos, Ecuador, Rangiria in French Polynesia, and the Bahamas are well known for divers having amazing encounters with groups of hammerheads. Hammerheads often travel in schools of up to 500 sharks, but only during the day. At night, they are often split up into smaller groups or go solo. And we don't know why that is. So I think with a lot of sea life, because of, where they live, it makes it harder for us to study these animals, and we're still learning more all the time. And sharks obviously are a little bit trickier to study than some other species of sea animals. I wouldn't want to get too close. So yeah, we're still discovering more about them and why they behave in certain ways, and we don't have the answers yet. It's not like we can just go up and ask them. Eden's asked if I'll be adding any blue to mine. Now, I did get the blues out. You think I should have, they're there. I sharpened them. I'm not sure I will, if I'm honest. I think if I'd had time to do background, I would add a blue background and keep the shark grey at this point. But I don't think I'm going to have time. We'll see how we go. Oof. I probably could have done like a blue wash on the background before I started on the details of the shark, but we'll see. We'll see how we do. How long it takes me to add in the details with the paint, with water. I'm still adding in different tones on the body. It's not a flat colour, because if I did just do a base colour all the same, the image would look really flat and it wouldn't look 3D. So I'm just going in, making sure I've got that variation in the tone there as well. And you can see that, especially on this tail part here, it's a lot darker on top than it is underneath. So I need to make sure that is shown in my illustration. I'm getting an achy arm. That's how out of practice I am. 1 week off and I've lost the resilience in my arm. Okay, that's not too bad. I feel like here is a lot more detailed. Here, not so much. So you can tell where I start to rush things. But we'll see if I can sort of correct that with the water. Where are my paintbrushes, Michael? Oh, they're hidden. Right, so let's start on the smaller details. I don't want to rush them if I'm running out of time. And you should still check back with your reference picture. Make sure you're following it accurately. Have you finished, Michael?
Yeah.
Well done.
Took me 40 minutes this time.
You're timing yourself now. I feel like there's a hair on my paintbrush and it's dragging the paint in a direction I didn't want it to go. How's everybody else doing now? Poor pups have living on their own straight away. I know, right? Just abandoned. That's it. You're on your own. They must be well equipped though to enable them the best chance to survive. I don't imagine it's like when a puppy is born and they're blind and almost hairless and all the rest of it. There must be just miniature versions of the mum. So the teeth is going to be tricky because I don't want to lose the white of the teeth. So really I could do a finer paintbrush for these details, but we'll see how we go. Because if I paint over the teeth, it's just going to look a bit gummy. It's going to look like a grandad shark. There we go, it's not too bad. And again, the temptation on the body is just going to be to get a really big thick paintbrush and wash it all out, but it's hard to retain details doing that, so I'm going to be patient with it and do a bit by bit so that I've got I don't lose that definition of tone. If you just brushed a paintbrush all over this, all the the variation between the dark and the light tones would be lost, and again it will make the image look really flat. I did mine with different colours and I'm finished for Morris. Nice. Did you go with blues or did you go for something completely different? Because there's no wrong way of approaching these tasks. You could have gone really abstract and funky if you wanted to. You could have a bright pink hammerhead shark. That'd be pretty cool. I want to say it's Charlotte that often does that. Is it Charlotte who's watching today? That normally sometimes does like really colourful, multicoloured animals, which is a pretty cool approach to it. Oh, nice. Jacob had pink, blue and green. Nice. Pink is my favourite colour. Nice. I used green, orange, yellow, pink and light blue for Morris. Awesome. Nice. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing them. That's what I like. A bit of variation. Don't be afraid to do something a bit different. You know, you're never going to be told by us that's wrong, because art can't ever be wrong. It's your interpretation. It's not a maths equation. So there's infinite amounts of ways that you can approach things. There's not one answer. Or I said a background that was pinky purple, almost like galaxy colours, that, isn't it? I bet that looks really funky. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, no, it's gone. Bless me, it came back. Nearly there. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have time for the background. Like, I might have spare time, but it wouldn't be enough for me to do the background. I know we did this before when we studied, God, it was like over a year ago, we did a goldfish, and I threw in the background, and it kind of looked a bit bodged afterwards, and I was like, that's a bad idea. But if you want to do it, obviously you're not necessarily restricted to the length of the time of the draw along, so you can always do so if you've got that time available today. And also to say again, especially as we've got new people here, if you haven't finished your study by the time that the post goes up, you can still post it. It doesn't have to be a completed drawing. You can still post it, because we can give you feedback based on what you've done so far, and then give you feedback on how you can improve it before you finish it. So if anything, it might even work out more beneficial to submit it for some feedback before you finished it, because then you've got time to implement that feedback. Does that make sense? Did that make sense, Michael, to you? Or was that just rambly? Or was you not listening to a word I was saying?
No, I was in my mind.
Yeah, I thought so. So I'm really going to be careful to leave some white highlights on the body of this shark to make him look more 3D, more realistic, but also to give the texture, the idea of the texture of his skin. He's not, doesn't look like he's got a rough appearance. He's certainly not feathery or scaly. It looks smooth, and by leaving these sort of white highlights, it gives that impression quite well. I'm even making them more dramatic than they are on the picture, because I want to really highlight that. I want to highlight the highlights. Is that your belly, Michael?
I'm hungry.
Hair on my picture. So I don't think it was the brush at all. I think it was one of the dogs getting in the way. Helpful. Oh, who said that? Someone said I'm going to put... Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to add coral to my background. That's really cool. So as well, you could even put other sea life in there, couldn't you? You could put other fish in there if you wanted to. You could have, depending on how much space you've left on your page, you could draw in a load of other hammerhead heads, but in like miniature version, sort of circling as if they're a part of that big school of 500. So they almost look like just little black silhouettes at the top of your page. That's what I would do if I was developing my picture on and I had the time. But coral's a good way of adding other colour in as well, isn't it? So I'm going to do what I rarely do, which is turn my page. I say I rarely do it. I rarely do it on a draw along. When I'm drawing at home on my own, I often turn my page because my hand naturally wants to paint and draw at this angle, and I find it hard to go against that. So I often will turn my page to allow me to do that. It makes my life a little bit easier. But I don't like to do it when we're drawing live, because it must be a bit annoying seeing the picture upside down. So to go back to where it was. Holly recommends using a white gel pen for highlights. Yes. I actually got my gel pens out and then I left them here, but absolutely, if you haven't got one, invest in a white gel pen, because it really helps you, especially if you've perhaps been a bit overzealous with the shading, or even with the blending with the water, with water if you've used watercolour pencils, then a white gel pen can be a way that you can add in those white highlights again if you've lost them. So definitely a good idea, a good investment if you haven't got one already. I would definitely recommend it. So thank you for highlighting that, Holly. I think I'm just about done. I don't think that's too shabby. First week back, sharks, which is always a little bit like, that's not my forte, but we'll give it a go. And I think we've done all right. Don't forget as well to sign your picture and date it so no one can steal it and sell it as one of their pictures. You know, you might make millions out of this one day. You never know. So that is my Hammerhead Shark. The first of our shark series. What have we got next week? If Joe's watching, can you remind me what we're drawing next week, Joe? Which shark is it? Now, if you're wondering, if you've looked ahead at the events and you're wondering why on earth we haven't done a great white shark, that'll be because we've already done it. So if you wanted to draw a great white shark, you can find one of our tutorial on that from, I think it was last year we did it, when we was looking at Australia, when we was travelling the world. So if you look on our YouTube channel, not only are you going to find all the other draw-alongs that we've done over the last 2 years, but you should find the Hammerhead Shark is here. You should find the great white shark. So next week, thank you, Joe, we are drawing the tiger shark, which I think is probably my favourite of the sharks we're studying. Hopefully you can join us then. The event is already up and running on the Facebook page, so if you want to click onto it. And also, again, if you're new to here, you might not know this, I didn't print any out to show you, but I've created worksheets to go alongside these draw-alongs. So on the discussion tab of the event, I uploaded them last night for the Hammerhead Shark. There's 2 worksheets. One is more like fact-based, just jotting down facts. The other one allows you to do a write-up on the hammerhead. So based on the information we shared today, and maybe even your own research, if you wanted to go into a deeper dive with this subject, you could do some more research, and then you've got those worksheets to fill in if you wanted to consolidate your learning. I know Michael, we tend to put, he's got a sketchbook, and he tends to have the drawing on one side, and then he sticks in the sheet on the other side when he's completed it, which is not always that happy about doing the written work, but he's got a mean mum that makes him. I'm getting glares now. So, what have we got? Bye. Thank you so much today. We will see you next week for some more art. Awesome. Hope you have a good week. What is the shark with the long tail? I don't know. I don't think it's one on our draw along. I know the one you're on about because it feels a bit prehistoric. It's got a really long, like thin tail. I'll try and find it for you, and or maybe that's the challenge. Actually, anyone listening, if you can research what is the shark with the really ridiculously long tail, and then share that information with us next week. That'd be pretty cool. And until then, hopefully we'll see your sharks uploaded from 1 p.m. Look out for this picture here. Comment with a picture of your illustration. The sooner you can get it on from 1 o'clock, the better for Jo. She'll be very, very grateful to you. The Fresher Shark, Jo already knew. It's the Fresher Shark. I know. Now that I've seen the name, I can remember it now. Thank you, Jo. I know Jo's into sharks and ocean animals, so I knew she'd have the answer. Holly's using her own reference image next week. She said she wants to challenge herself. Awesome. Yeah, feel free. So yeah, you can always look ahead, see where the reference images are. If you're not too happy with that reference image and you want to do something different, absolutely, you don't have to do the same as us. Again, because there's no right or wrong way of doing art. Jo said, oops, sorry, I gave the answer right. It's okay. To be fair, it would have bugged me, so I'm glad you gave me the answer anyway. So we'll see you next Monday. Hope you have a glorious rest of the week, and see you soon. Bye. Bye.